Just want to make a simple argument this morning that I am constantly bombarded with, and look, the door opened. The door just decided to open. I'll take that as a fucking sign. I'm constantly bombarded with gambling ads, and this is why I'm making the assumptions. Like, when I'm calling this thing the casino, I literally mean it. I don't think you did it on purpose. I think you did it, you were building something and then you realized it was a casino because I told you. And now I'm saying, look, I'm not going to live in a casino. I don't have a problem with sports betting, with all these gambling things. When they're that, you can't make the whole thing that. That's what I'm saying. And the argument, like, basically, to prove me wrong, you've got to prove that that's not how it was before. And maybe it was, but it wasn't as much as it is now. Now it's just stupid. You just make the whole thing. If I had to go to a casino, my strategy would be to meet someone interesting and talk to them and have a conversation with them. Pretty hard thing to do, but that's what I would do if I had to be in that space. And then you're making that illegal and you're making that restricted, and you can kind of get away with that at a casino. You know what I mean? If someone set a stand up and started talking about history in a casino, you could be like, listen, not really the place. But you can't do that in the fucking world, otherwise you expose yourself as making a casino, and the door agrees. You see it? Fucking moved again, didn't it? You saw it. It moved again. Wow. If it could slam right now, that'd be good. Slam. See, I'm not magic. I just am in the middle of a fucking haunting that has been going on for a long time, and this haunting is very particular. It's like, Shannon, you need to say something about all the fucking gambling. You need to say something about the fact that the world's been turned into a casino. I think they've known for ages. Yeah, it's something to do with the exact structure of here, like, it's quite bad. I think Australia is like a trial. They're like, well, it was a prison. Let's just see if we can turn it into a casino and see if anyone notices. And it would have been way easier to pay me off, and I would have been cheap as fuck to pay off. So I assume that, like, I don't know, there must be something else going on. I think maybe you've realised the error of your ways, and now there's some type of hopeful transition in place, or taking place. Like, from all the corners of the globe, they're just kind of swirling in and being like, whoops, maybe if we just give them all some money. And I think that's the discussion going on right now. Just like, how are we going to stop all those people from panicking and running to the gate? Like, because you just fucked us over. Repeatedly. The one thing you're not meant to do, and you fucking did it. You turned it into a casino, and I'm sitting there staring you in the eyes saying that you did it. Why the fuck did you do that? Do you know what the position that puts me in? It's a position that's not pleasant. It's a position of, like, very intense retaliation. And I don't like that feeling. I'd rather just settle it, like, immediately by ceasing and desisting all continuation into that digital casino world and re-stabilising ourselves into the environment. It's not glamorous. It's just what you would do if you weren't a complete fucking psychopathic moron. But we do have to remember that we're in a casino, and so that whole fucking paradigm emerged in a casino, and when you fucking hear that, it doesn't sound as surprising. You're like, well, of course. What the fuck did you expect trying to run a government in a casino? I'd love that much. It's like me knocking on the casino's door, like, could you keep it down? Yes, you are literally throwing children out the window. I understand you're all trying to celebrate and have a good time, but There are children being thrown out the top window and they're splattering all over the floor. We have to stop doing that. Hey, fuck humanity. What a crazy, crazy old game we're all playing. I have a hair in my fucking tooth. This is where the real sympathy should be. That's, oh, got it. Oh, wow. You got it out. Well done. That's all we can really, like, uncomfortable, momentary things like that. That's kind of place. Oh, I'm with you through this. I really hope you get through this. All the swirling other things. You've really just got to fix small things. But there are some times when you need to intervene and be like, hey, listen, I don't want to live in a casino. Listen, you turning the whole thing into a bloody casino, that kind of affects all my plans going forward. And as you can see that I've planned these plans going forward for quite a long time now, that the casino on the boundary is not really going to work for anyone. So, yeah, you're going to have to really fucking... Is that what happened over Easter? They just put pokey machines in to pay for their shit. Oh, we need to learn from them. They did something wrong. Very clear if you go and have a visit. They were clearly doing something very wrong in that place. We did something not as wrong and still weirdly long-term wrong in another way. Everyone did all types of wrong. We've got to dig through all that wrong and be like, wow, look what happened. Look what this tells us about here and look what this supposes about here. Fuck's sake. My only thing now is this clock. Because I've set it as 10 minutes. So even that little chimp fucking rat on a cage bit in my brain's like, we're almost at 10 minutes. And then I'll have another sip of my coffee. Because I had to do that to be able to fucking keep up with you lot doing the casino. It's fucking silly. Think of the pressure of that. I have to get up every morning and think about doing a 10-minute monologue. I dare you to try and do one 10-minute monologue. Just do it. Or shut up. That's all you got to do. Just do it for a week. Do 7 monologues a week for 1 week. And then I'll be like, well done. Good job. And I probably won't have listened to them, but I'll appreciate it. But without anything there, that's all we need to get to. They gave us statistics for us to fucking, like, get Royal Show tickets and line up and get Royal Show tickets. It does seem funny that it's like, why? I wonder how much that cost. That's a weird way. That's a weird level of acceptance, I think. Got a minute and a half. Weird level of acceptance has been like, I wonder how much was it, Pfizer? How much did it cost to buy out our... Because anything could be fucking potentially, like, lethal. I think we've got to get... I've got to even... Like, there we go. We've got to step out of this thing of this vaccine ban. It's like, yeah, they've probably all been really shit for ages. They're probably actually better now. Like, that's the truth. The truth is that just a lot of shit has been going out that potentially could kill us, and we've already had so much interaction with all of that it's crazy. And you do have to kind of be like, look, I think they may have had some level of, I don't know. But that's not the point. We can decide not to live in a casino and only enter a casino. This is what we need. We need clear zones where we're not falling into these, like, unrealistic projections of tiny little city centres that are not at all balanced with their actual environment. They're plugged into something else and they're trying to spurt their fucking dreams and fantasies to a tube at us by pictures and marketing material and not any actual thinking.
Yes, well, I was completely lost until I found godshelpinghand.com.au, and from godshelpinghand.com.au I have found a streamlined solution to really connect me with our Lord God and his naughty little boy Jesus Christ, who was also supposedly a good man as well. But I think God really is the main big daddy of that whole saga. The boy seemed to be a little bit, how you say, impetuous with his decision-making process, and I have heard that his mother may have, I'm not really sure, but let's just say that there was something a little bit awry in the whole story. And I think that's actually the meaning of the story, because the meaning of the story doesn't always have to be that the son is like a superhero. Even though the son is the largest thing that we most often see, it doesn't usually mean that the son is the superhero of the story. Do you know what I mean? That is a type of suicidal hopefulness in which perpetually we were replacing before generations have had a chance to expand and introduce figures such as the grandfather and the great-grandfather into the equation. And, well, the fact that the son is some type of superhero falls down. You can see it's some type of pseudo-sexual fantasy that is occupied, I think, mainly by the feminine archetype, and I think it's from that feminine archetype that so many people are delving into this peculiar atmosphere in which the son, it's only through my but I have been the father, the son, and everything in between, and I was thrust into the position of being where my father was, and that, of course, is a blessing and a curse. You know, I would exchange any. I actually haven't. I've received mainly just responsibility, and not a lot of help. And in fact, with that responsibility is just an escalating level of hell to which I have to try and organise to continue this patriarchal structure that I'm dominating onto my landscape. And you'll notice that is not doing a good job, and in fact I'm actually having to delve into the feminine to try and coax this thing back onto the track, because the tendency towards self-indulgent wanderings and musings and you know, very short-term thinking has been piped out of every orifice that has a speaker in it or a little screen. So we're fighting an overwhelming battle here on the ground, and sometimes that, you know, does feel like a hopeless endeavour. Nevertheless, we try. And I think if there was a snapshot, a caricature, which perhaps I am participating in right now, and maybe I'm trying to show you what my idea of a patriarch would be, for no particular reason but to just wave that in everyone's face and show them that a patriarch in fact is somebody who is very patient and very understanding of everyone. I think beginning the argument at patriarchy really does some injustice to larger devils that lurk in between the idea of nothingness or a matriarchy, and then on the way to a patriarchy you can have an outright tyrant. You can have someone who just commands themselves all across the place and takes what they want whenever they want. And then you can have a patriarchy, which is really can be boiled down to fathers discussing important planning concepts and structures to better solidify security for all members of their system. Something that, if you could see it, would be beautiful. I can see it. I've spent a lot of time trying to see it. All the accents, all the show, everything, because there's a bit of a character. I just kind of said I was doing a character. But all of it is to try and show you what this thing really is. Because you used to be able to see it, and we're not going to be able to see it as much because it isn't structures. It's still structures. Structures were just physical things that held people. So now and I'm taking these off as well. We still have all those things. They're just not structures, physical buildings. They're not actually even physical, like dress codes or systems of validation. I think they boil down to a moral belief, to whether you think you have a responsibility to make things better or whether you just have a responsibility to yourself. That's what I see as the current age of patriarchal re-emergence. You know what I mean? We've had to go into hiding because you all blamed a lot of things on us. And unfortunately, we've had to prove that that just ain't the case, folks. And so now we're back. And that's probably a relief to a bunch of people because they're going to say, whoa, holy shit, how did we get so bad? And it's because we didn't have this type of structure. Because we listened and we let you have the experiment that you've been asking for. And it was not pleasant. So now we need to re-establish order, and there's a few ways that we do that. And so that will begin. But there is a reason for all of these things, and it isn't this single-minded one track. It is defendable at all points. It is accessible at all points. It is to be interacted with. That is what it is designed to do. It is understanding, and if it isn't, then make more noise until it is. It is a big machine, and if you find a problem, you need to get to the core of it. And it is your responsibility, and we need to build structures that protect those people from doing that incredibly difficult work in our overall system, which at this point is like an uncharted cave system of fucking nightmares, unfortunately. And so we need to streamline structures that are going to be conducive for actually prosperity. We've built and led by throttle alone, and it's time for some dynamic work. It's time for some intricate work. It's time for some disruptive infilling, some disruptive, large-scale, interconnected, community-based projects that might not have any benefit, as opposed to just something novelty that's going on. These are things. These are levels. We can't be scared of this government any longer, and this will be the benefit that comes from their overuse of this. It's pent up, and now it's back, and then we can go, whoa, they did it so much, and now it's like, now I want to push back, get these chemicals off our roadsides, just keep going, just keep pushing them back until we get to a point when we can see progress. We've got to push hard now to reclaim our humanity away from computer thinking, computerized, number-based, algorithmic thinking that will so often lead to a man in his basement or his mansion or his boat just fantasizing about his absolute power that he has. That's not an appropriate scale of technology.
Thought I would do a quick video while it's fresh in my mind. And the way... So I just had a deep realization hit me, sitting outside, which I'll get to. Directly after that, had a cicada land on a chair in front of me. And then got up and saw a kookaburra, which is either time my brother or my father always sees a kookaburra. And this one I think was my father because it was bigger. It depends. It's an energy. I just kind of know. I'm like, oh, that's my father, or is that my brother? This time it was my father. The wisdom that I was being imparted with in the moment before I saw the cicada, the realization that I had, was that I am trapped in the enigma of the snake and the garden. Clearly, and this is the way I'm trying to explain it. A snake is an inevitability in a good environment, if there are snakes there, okay? And the snake can be any predator. The snake can actually be, it's, if it is present and you have a good environment, the snake will be there. It's my assumption that cultures that have risen with a respect for snakes experience this as a mutual respect. And so this is the shared territory that we will agree not to impede on each other. This is where I am constantly trying to get myself, but I believe I'm coming from a culture that has risen this snake killing up to its highest level. And so I don't know where I lie. I seem to be in a weird conundrum to do with this. And I look at thousands of years or hundreds of years of history of overcoming this snake, and I also see my own interpretation. And I am at a loss of what to do. But I believe it is what is happening. It is what I'm stuck in the middle of. It's not resolved yet. I think it's testing my own capacity, because I've held this as an esteem, and then to be exposed to it is confronting, because then you realize you are persisting your loved ones in this exposure. But I've also found that this exists everywhere as well. This exists in the places that are supposedly snake-proof, full of snakes, different types of snakes. And so we're all in this conundrum of exposing our loved ones to threats based on our acclimatization to them and our becoming immune to their tactics. But my personal interaction with the snake, if I break away from all the fear and just go down to the interaction that I had yesterday with the snake, was one of respect. It was one of, hey, here I am, but I'm leaving, going. I get it. And then wasn't seen again. That's always the interaction I've had with snakes. And I assume that they're doing some other things that may be positive. And very little do I come into contact with them, and I think that is what they do as a sign of respect. I think anytime you're getting snakes in lawns and things, there's something going on there. that could just be me, but my interaction with this has been very ethereal. Like I cannot remove the spiritual things I'm encountering with the phenomenon I'm seeing in physical nature. That too is part of a very ancient, very long-standing conflict that needs to be at least addressed. I'm saying I'm on the fence. This is one of the very few things that I will say I'm on the fence about. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm not some type of fucking person here that knows what to do. I'm like, can we have a discussion? Because I see the snake as a line in the sand away from the garden. I see the moment we kill the snake is the moment we destroy the garden. And I think that's perhaps there's a miscommunication, there's a miscalculation, there's something there, and I think it's a very core thing about progress of man down towards civilized thing, and I think it is our doorway to suicide, personally, and I think we're faced with it constantly. I think we need to readdress some of our stories and just think outside the box, stare at the obvious until it emerges. I've got a theory that the problem that people have with the cannabis is, I think it has something to do with pirates. And the age of the pirates, almost definitely. The distribution of slave trade in the Caribbean, that culture, the reintroduction of that culture into England. I think all of it has to do with pirates. Which I am not a pirate. You will have to remember, I did actually ask for a license. And I haven't actually committed anything that would even fall under the thing of piracy. I think we think of pirates and they're quite vicious, and they've had a bit of time now with the Disney spotlight on them in a positive light, which is kind of good, because it's pretty much because of pirates that you're probably here. If you're in this state, if you're in this country, you're here because of pirates, who were very capable people. They were basically captains of ships, which is not something to be sneezed at. It's a very technical thing to do, to be in command of. And there's a good chance in my mind that they were smoking cannabis and smoking marijuana. Because I don't think you could do it if you weren't. And I don't think they were all fucking bad. I think some of them were amazing. It's a very misunderstood section of history that is inevitably just repeating over and over and over again. But there's with new tools come new tactics and new techniques, and transparency seems to be, thank God, a tactic, because of course it should be. That is actually the basis of all our political systems, is if someone is going to, and a lot of our corporate structures, if someone is going to put themselves out there and publicly do all this, then they have more emphasis to be on the up and up. It seems like complexity, a layer of complexity has emerged that has enabled people to disguise themselves within the complexity. Inevitably, though, we're at a situation where we're going to be able to group segments together and provide them with efficiency. This is what humans continuously do. So there will be very shortly a one payment house that provides you with this, and you have this and this and all the things, and that is just there. At the flick of a switch from government, that's right there. And this will end, in a way, this speculative bubble that has been going on, because it provides a good to which there is a demand for a service, and then it allows the base assets to reclassify themselves financially, to reorder themselves according to the new paradigm that emerges once these legislations. These are the types of decisions that are just everywhere. And the problem is that we have concentrations of people that inevitably concentrate their power, but then overexpose themselves to that very thing. So it's too obvious. It's like, well, what are you doing? And this is, again, what our parliament is designed to prevent, because it is too obvious then to do it. And then we go, right, hey. And then everyone goes, hey, hey. And then you dramatically and publicly repair all the problems. And usually kind of skulk off, I think, is generally the thing that is done. Because the thing that we need to understand is this ship that we are all on is continuously being presented to us from the darkness. It's like a ghost ship. And so we don't really know what it looks like yet, because we're building it. I have a faith that it is beautiful because I've interacted with it, I believe. And so based on that, I have faith that this beautiful ship is emerging, but we need to be sensitive to the people that can see it emerging and aren't constrained by the previous incarnations that the idea of the ship is fixed. It is not fixed, it is something we're building. This has existed in all periods and all locations across the world, never-endingly in humans forever, because you can see it. You can see the magnificent places that we have built by using this ability, which is innate to all of us, once we are given the opportunity to actually experience it. Once we are freed to look on the landscape with the eyes of builders, with the eyes of gardeners, with the eyes of free people, free men and women. That is how my forebears landed here. That is how they will leave here. And that is what I will continue to do while I'm here, is to freely improve my environment to my level of energy output, to the highest level that I can, if allowed to, and unimpeded. Because that, based on your projections, that value add that you're giving to the country is in the negative. And I will, like the tortoise and the hare, I will continuously beat you on a long-term time frame. And pretty dramatically, because I'm first and foremost making sure that I don't make anything worse. And that is the hardest thing, because that prevents progress. Ooh, have we made something worse? Impetuousness can gain early results. But on the long term, this strategy will always win. out. And so, yeah. It's how long that's going to last. That's the thing. My guess is 600 years. 600 years this will be established in. A beautiful joint project, I think. Truly a legacy to leave behind and to behold for countless generations. Alrighty. I guess I have to explain in high detail all the things going on so I can currently, I don't know, actually figure out what I'm desiring, what my situation is. I feel like I'm trapped because I am, in some type of boomer retirement retreat modelled on Queen Elizabeth, in which my mother just expects everyone to fall under her delusion that she is of sound, capable mind and is ushering us into a beautiful utopia. And it seems like as long as that fictitious pantomime is going on, there is absolutely nothing I can do about it. That is to do with that side of the family, unless I divide my family, and then it's all linked up to do with the army and NASA, which is fun. You know, it's fun to have those things involved in family affairs. It's all just fun. It's all I want to do is to build a fucking house on some family property to adjust and to prepare for my growing family in the future in a sustainable way, while potentially, sharing, unpaid, voluntarily sharing my progress in those things, because I believe it's an important thing for people to work on. But I am walled in by walls built by pharmaceutical companies, walls built by intelligence agencies, walls built by every fucking Tom, Dick, or Harry that wants to control perfectly the movements and the purchases of fucking hundreds of thousands of people. Because why wouldn't you want to do that if you could do it? Now, there is a place in the middle where we need to find out some through territory so that we don't end up killing each other. Because I even think legally, I think I can make right now legally a claim to fucking dispatch with certain fucking surgeons in this country based on like atrocities that they've already committed, that they've been committing for years. And when you keep digging and you find out that structure is kind of loosely just controlled by a pack of these fucking morons, by a pack of these fucking vicious fucking psychopaths that have weaseled their way, like it's in broad daylight. That's far worse. And not just... While the entire fucking place deteriorates into shit, this place is far from being run well.
There is like appreciation where there has been things done. But really, what the fuck did you expect? You expect to operate an offshore utopia slush fund with just a visit? No. No. Just like the amount of fucking decisions that you are faced with after you take 2 steps outside in any major environment that has been permanently affected by actions under your rule. All of that story changes radically whether you address and accept or whether you cover up. Because where does that put every single person in my situation? It puts me in a position to be between doing what I know is right for everyone and then potentially putting myself at risk. But why is that a risk? Why do I have to put myself at risk to do those things? That is, by its very nature, the hallmark of a culture that is going to kill itself. And like Groundhog Day, I am forced to relive this out every day because I can project from every day. There's only a few clear lines of progress I need to make. And so there's only a few front lines in my mind. And this is one of them. It's like if we are pushing people like this generation of boomers, that they did not fucking contribute to our lives in the same way. They didn't go to war. They didn't do these things. Some of them did. Those people are fucking always, as always, should be commended for their activities. But everyone else, what was implanted instead of that idea of loyalty and protection and ownership even over the land, was ownership over your own little life that then you could brag about, that you could have something to show to everyone that was, and I think it all does come from the Queen. That was the Queen's way of being, of having something. It's a very large divide. She had a very difficult thing to do. There's only meant to be one. There's meant to be one queen and one king, and it's not a very particularly nice job. I guarantee you, right? It's a fucking pretty terrible job. But that's what's always missed. It's like, yeah, the Queen did that. She also did this terrible job to get those things. And so the whole time she's like, she might have those things. She's like, yeah, I have these things and I do this very terrible bullshit job non-stop, over and over and over again. Every day I wake up and I do the same job. And that was her job, was to hold focus. And now we have her son's time in that. And he has a very difficult role to do because he has to fucking listen to lots of different segments and then try and make a fucking decision, which is incredibly hard. That's why I'm trying to make it easier by whittling down a few things. Are we making things worse? Let's stop making things worse. Let's try that. Because that's way bad. That's the difference between, imagine accidentally hitting a tree and ploughing into a tree. They're 2 radically different things. Do you know what I mean? Is your accelerator down, sir? No, there's only a couple. Right? It's a huge difference. And that's the point we're at. So it's kind of good that we've got, and I think I said her name wrong, Lydia Thorpe, doing this. Good on her. There is a lot of pent-up rage. She is there. You don't understand her story to get there and what game she's had to play. That's her position. She's allowed to be there. That's her right. And good on her for doing it. But that's what they're all at. They're all at a drunk fucking party. And that's why all the reactions are like, yeah, woo. Even all the media is the same. Like it's a big fucking drunk party. Well, guess what? Again, all your children are at the casino in the car. You've left them in the car. You all are on fucking video, and we need to actually fucking begin. We're happy for you to continue this party, but just away from the actual fucking major issues that we're having here. Are you making things worse, government? Well, they're even called parties. Okay? That's what they're called because they started as a party. because that was the world. It was in a party. It didn't have this 360 degrees thing. Once, all we need to do is just go and film you. All of you. And we'll just do that. Because we need to fucking actually start fixing it. We're cool with all the things. Just you tone down your influence, have your party, continue having your party. We're fine with it. Have just not even scale down, scale the fucking thing up. Make it a bigger party, but make it less decisions you're making. And then let people that are really passionate about the decisions do the things and stop getting in their way. And I guarantee you, unfortunately, that's actually where we're at. That's how dumb we are. But that's kind of cool. It's cool that we're dumb. Because we can be trained, I assume, with the right nudge.